Link's adventure in The Wind Waker begins when his little sister, Aryll, is kidnapped by the Helmarock King and taken to the Forsaken Fortress. Link later learns that this was part of Ganondorf's plan to find Princess Zelda by capturing all young girls with pointed ears across the Great Sea. So it's not just Aryll Link rescues from the cage atop the fortress. It's an entire group captured from across the sea. One of these girls was Maggie, who is described as having been dirt poor, living on Windfall Island with her father, a haggard man who begs passers-by for rupees. After her rescue, however, Maggie and her father's fortunes change. She apparently returned from the fortress with a number of skull necklaces, which they sold for vast wealth. In this, her story is a reflection of Mila's, another victim of the Helmarock King, who originally lived in the most expensive house on Windfall Island until her father gave away all of their wealth to Tetra's pirates in hope of her rescue. There's more to Maggie than a rags to riches story, though. There's something strange about her time at the Forsaken Fortress, and how she amassed the wealth of skull necklaces. When Link talks to her in her fancy new house, she'll say that it's like a dream come true. But no, it's a nightmare. Without him by my side, it's like a rainstorm rages in my heart. He was so kind to me in the Forsaken Fortress. That sweet boy who gave me all those expensive necklaces when I fled that cursed island. So she was given the necklaces by a boy. This already seems odd, given that no boys were taken to the fortress, only girls that resembled Zelda. But it gets much stranger. Just hearing his name lifts my spirits. Mo, the wonderful moblin from the Forsaken Fortress. Mo is a moblin, one of Ganondorf's pig monsters. The jailers and guards who patrol the island prison, stalking the halls with their lanterns and great spears. Maggie will ask Link to send a letter to Mo, as her father won't let her leave the house. He does, and later she'll receive a reply, and Link witnesses Maggie's father barring the postman from entering his house, despite him going through great trials and tribulations to go all the way to the Forsaken Fortress and return with Mo's letter. The postman decides to ask Link to deliver the letter to Maggie. Mo's letter reads, "This is Mo. I like you, Maggie, so much that I want to eat you for dinner." Despite this, Maggie is truly infatuated with him. She mistakes this peculiar reply for a marriage proposal and claims to love Mo's messy handwriting. Maggie's figurine describes her as popular with all boys, but that she prefers wild boys over all others. And I guess it's hard to think of a wilder boyfriend than a hulking boar soldier in servitude to the Dark Lord. Still, it's one of the strangest little interactions in the Zelda series, and raises all manner of questions. Speaking of moblins, in the Minish cap, there's an old woman who moves into Percy's house while he's away. When Link enters, the house is dark, and the lady asks him to leave it that way as the dark settles her soul. If he lights the nearby torches, however, the truth is revealed. She is not a gentle old woman, but a moblin in disguise. She asks Link to not tell anyone her secret, and offers him 50 rupees for his silence. This is, of course, a reference to an iconic interaction from the very first Zelda game, where moblins can be discovered lurking in caves across Hyrule. When Link talks to them, they'll pay him a sum of rupees and say, "It's a secret to everybody," a line which has since become something of a recurring joke in the series. It might also be a nod to A Link to the Past, where there's another old lady, this time found in Kakariko Village. She's kind to Link. She tells him that even though there are rumours that he's kidnapped Zelda, she doesn't believe them. There's something strange going on though. If Link sprinkles magic powder on her, she'll transform into a fairy. And another strange woman can be found outside another house in the village. If Link gets too close, she will inform the guards of his presence before running into her house. Inside this house, there's something really odd. In a pot, Link can find a cuckoo, who will transform into a woman identical to the informant woman found outside. Curiously, she doesn't seem to remember being a human before, saying, "You turn me into a human. I can even speak. Aha, it must be you who's always teasing my friends. The weathercock is always watching you harass them. Well, this human shape is uncomfortable for me. I want to be a chicken again." But jumping back to the Minish camp for a minute, on the topic of characters who might not be what they seem, we have the Hurdy-Gurdy man. He appears early on in the game, when Link returns to Hyrule Town after completing the Deepwood Shrine, surrounded by Hylian children, explaining the wonders of Kinstone fusion. It's this man that gives Link the Kinstone bag and fuses his first Kinstone, though he might not be a man at all. Looking closer at the Hurdy-Gurdy man, his design is quite odd. He doesn't resemble other Hylian characters Link encounters. Instead, he looks much more similar to the Minish, with a pointed nose, sharp ears, and small, beady, mouse-like eyes. The Minish are implied to be the creators of the Kinstones. They are marked with the four-leaf clover symbol often associated with the Picori, so might this Kinstone aficionado in fact be one of these diminutive people? The obvious counterpoint is his size. The Hurdy-Gurdy man is, well, man-sized. But as we see at the end of the game, just as it's possible for Link to shrink down to the size of a Minish, it's possible for Minish to appear the size of a Hylian. So who knows, maybe the Hurdy-Gurdy man is actually one of the Minish, spreading the joys of his people's creation to the Hylians. Before we continue, here's a quick word from this video's sponsor.
I live in the UK, and so this is what we call a scorcher. So when I'm outside, I need headphones that are not only lightweight and comfortable, but also waterproof. Recently, I've been wearing these Raycon bone conduction headphones, and they tick all the boxes.
The bone conduction headphones work by using off-ear audio. They send vibrations through your skull, keeping your ears open to the world around you. They pack in 13 hours of battery life and, crucially, comparable performance to big audio brands, but at half the cost. Raycon offer a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you can make sure you like them or get your money back. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to grab your own pair, head to buyraycon.com/ZelticYTBC for 20% off. That's buyraycon.com/ZelticYTBC. Back to the video. Wandering the desolate wilderness of Breath of the Wild's Hyrule is Spinch, a Hylian man on horseback. He's one of many traveller NPCs Link can encounter throughout his quest, but what makes Spinch stand out is his peculiar personality. Spinch will introduce himself as Spinch, and reveal that his horse is also named Spinch. He'll explain that they're called the Spinches, and ask if Link's name is also Spinch, and offer to impart Spinch wisdom. Are we a man-horse? A horse-man? Where does one end and the other begin? It's a mystery for the ages. Spinch is, of course, one of Breath of the Wild's most important NPCs, and he does reappear in Tears of the Kingdom too, found at the Lakeside Stable. Unfortunately, he's without his noble steed, Spinch, and will only talk about the weather, lacking any of his brilliant personality from before. In Ikana Canyon, in Majora's Mask's Land of Termina, a lone guard can be found laying on the floor. He's waving his arms and calling for help, but unless Link looks at him through the lens of truth, he's completely invisible. If Link speaks to him, he'll be shocked. He's apparently been here for years, begging anyone who passes by for help, but nobody's noticed him, because he's as impressive as a stone. It seems he's stuck here because of some kind of illness. Giving him a potion heals him, and he'll reward Link with the stone mask, allowing him to become invisible. He'll then stand up and begin working on ways to stand out more. His role in the game is unchanged in the 3DS remake, but his location is different. He's found in the middle of the Pirate's Fortress. His dialogue is slightly different here. He claims he's a Clocktown soldier, but is depressed because nobody ever notices him. So, to fix this problem, he infiltrated the Pirate's Fortress, but ran out of energy. Despite him lying there, calling out for help in the middle of a fortress defended by a network of patrolling guards, he still somehow went unnoticed, and chalks it up to his personality. Notably, Shiro is the only character in Majora's Mask who is referred to with the Kun honorific, as Shiro-kun rather than by the more respectful Shiro-san, like everyone else. So Shiro doesn't seem to be suffering from some curse of invisibility, nor does he wear the stone mask before giving it to Link. He really is just so forgettable, so unable to win the respect of others that he fades into the background like a stone. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like, and subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. A big thank you to Raycon for making this video possible. Be sure to check them out at buyraycon.com/ZelticYTBC. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.